This episode of Come to Therapy with Me is possible thanks to Pediasure, the health shake that helps your fussy eater improve their appetite in 4 weeks. I'll tell you more shortly, but please remember that Pediasure is food for special medical purposes, and use Pediasure only under medical supervision.
Nine podcasts.
Hey, Nicolina here. Oh, that little guy? That's my boy Noah. Yep, that's also him. He may be the light of my life right now, but that didn't stop the postnatal depression. Now I'm pregnant with my second, and to be honest, I need help. So I'm turning to therapy to deal with all the anxiety, the worries and the blues that come along with the most important role of my life, motherhood. Sit with me each week as I try to figure out how I can navigate these rough seas. The information presented in this podcast is for general information only and not suitable for independent professional advice. If this podcast has raised any issues for you and you need information or support, please contact your medical professional or Panda on 1300 726 306.
Despite my struggles with postnatal blues, despite me questioning my capabilities as a mum, despite all the judgment, negative thoughts, hard work, messy days, I'm about to have another child. And the age difference between Noah and his soon-to-arrive little brother is pretty tight, 18 months to be exact. At 36 weeks pregnant, about to attend my final therapy session with Dr. Charisse, I'm feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and to be honest, a little terrified. Look, I may have everything organised when it comes to clothes, nursery, breastfeeding supplies, but no amount of organisation seems to be easing my worries. How am I going to be able to do this? I'm walking into this session with my ears wide open, ready to take in Dr. Charisse's wisdom. I hope that she can help me process, prepare, and give me the tools to think clearly and logically going into this next motherhood challenge. Having 2 under 2. Oh boy.
How many kids do you have, Sheree?
I have 3.
3.
Yes.
And do you, because most people have been saying to me, don't worry, Nikki, it's harder to go from 0 to 1 than it is from 1 to 2. What do you think about that saying? Because
listen,
I would assume the other way.
the other
around.
way. There are unique challenges in both, right? The shock to the system and the shock of the new is the biggest when we go from 0 to 1. We have landed on the moon and we have done no astronaut preparation training. We have no clue what is happening and we're expected to breathe and function. So I think that is hard. I think when you go from 1 to 2, you already have a sense of, you know what newborns are like. You kind of know what sleep deprivation's like. You know what it is to formula feed or breastfeed. You know what's happening with your whole body. So you know all of that. The challenge though there is, but I have 2 people, 2 little, very little people. I don't know how to meet their needs. I struggled with one of them. So I think your challenge is just
Different types of challenge.
Different types of challenge.
Which is what I've been kind of telling myself, like I'm only a couple of weeks away now. As the organiser I am, I've tried to prepare physically with everything. So like buy everything I need prior to, you know, based on my experience with Noah, what worked, what didn't work. But I think mentally when I think about, okay, there's about to be 2 around. I'm not sure how to prepare for that. I can only be confident in, I know what a newborn is like. I remind myself that not all newborns are the same.
Excellent, because they can be very different.
They could be very different babies, Nikki, just you need to like accept that. But yeah, I'm just wondering like how else I can really like get into a good space before the baby comes.
In preparation. I think you break this into a few different areas, right? So some women will say, I just don't know from a practical point of view, what does it look like in a practical sense? Like how am I meant to feed my toddler and be feeding the baby, or putting the baby to sleep while the toddler's needing a bath or needing to go to bed themselves? So there's that kind of practical component. The other bits women will often talk about is, well, how am I meant to love both of them?
Yeah.
Like I've got so much love for Noah.
Yeah.
I don't know where in my heart that is where am I going to find more love
Yeah.
for this baby?
And I'm a little scared about Noah as well. Like, I don't want him to feel like he's not getting as much attention as he used to, and that something's wrong. And being so young as well, I feel like, you know, that there's an added element of he's still a toddler. A lot of, you know, he's still all about cuddles and attachment and, you know, coming to mum, coming to dad.
Yeah, he's got a cup that still needs to be filled up, right? Yes. So first of all, it is a transition for Noah, and that's okay. I mean, we can't predict what that transition will be like, but we can kind of expect there to be some ups and downs for him, some either extra clinginess or kind of some pushing away and rebellious behaviours because he's maybe a bit miffed that there's a little baby in the mix now. The way I like to look at it with kind of the attention thing is he still gets attention from mummy and daddy.
Yeah.
And there's a little baby who he gets to kind of interact with, and so there's a different source
that's right.
of interaction and attention. So I think that kind of doesn't make up for the change in the dynamics, but it's a new part that's not necessarily, it's not a negative to him. It can be quite a big positive. So it's tricky to know then, how do we give love to both babies? And what I say to that is, well, you didn't know how much your heart could stretch before you had Noah.
That's true.
And
that is true.
Right? And it's stretched.
I thought I loved my dog.
There you go.
But, you know, it's a whole different element.
A different space is created.
Yeah.
So I think we can just trust in that process and trust in the fact that, well, space was created when Noah was here. And space will be created when this little baby is here as well. The relationships will all reorganise themselves with you and your husband and you and Noah and daddy and Noah and mummy because their little baby is coming in. So the puzzle pieces have to get chucked up into the air in order to figure out where they, and that will take time. And that's okay.
It's funny you mentioned my husband as well, because that's another thing that I'm just thinking about is like, I feel like when you get through the baby stage, it's like, you know, hard and everything's like crazy and you're all trying to figure it out. But now that Noah's a toddler, there's a lot more structure to our day. We get some time to ourselves. We just have found a really good place. And so now that I know that it's going back into baby phase, but baby with toddler, I like, that's a whole, this is another step. I just want to make sure as well that like we stay in a like a really connected and well place, and like we spend the time together that we need to. I know realistically, okay, like the newborn phase is really demanding. There's going to be like a lot of work there. But I guess just, you know, how do I like put some, like a little bit of pre-thought into that as well, and pre-planning.
So important to do that because relationships take work, right? It becomes a bit risky when we just assume that our relationship will continue on the same as it has been, even though we're kind of injecting this huge change into it. So the fact that you're even thinking about what that change might look like, and you're linking into your value of, I value being connected to my husband. I value having time with him, means that we can start thinking about, well, what actions need to follow. And yes, absolutely, the newborn phase kind of hijacks everything, right? So time together with your husband will maybe not look like those, I don't know, 30-minute stretches where we watch an episode or a series episode together, because we don't have that predictability anymore when the baby's here. So then rethinking about how else can we connect? Is that through, you know, whenever we see each other, just embracing in each other's arms for holding that for 5 seconds longer than what we normally would, or making sure we look at each other in the eyes when we're asking, how are you? How was, tell me about your day. Or does it mean that we connect over a cup of coffee, but maybe the coffee will be interrupted after 3 mouthfuls?
And pretty cold.
And maybe cold. So thinking about how do we connect, but working smart.
Because like last time I felt like we just powered through the day and then we'll just pass out.
And you're exhausted.
There wasn't much.
Not much connection.
Not much connection at all.
There can also be points of connection which this time around with the baby, when you and your husband just have those moments where you join together and you're both at the change table and changing the baby's nappy. that's a point as well where you can connect together as a couple and as parents to the baby.
That's a really good point, because I like, you know, automatically with those little moments, I literally just think like, all right, let's get the nappy
Just
changed.
done. Yes. Do we have a task to do?
Yeah. Or it would be very much like, you do this, I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really stop like very often.
Right.
So maybe, I should, maybe that is something that I should. I feel like I'm a real, like, you know, rusher and organizer, and just like, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to do something else that's super efficient and like we can get it done quicker kind of thing. So yeah, maybe that's something that I could like pull back on a little bit.
Yeah.
Be a bit more easygoing with.
Sometimes efficiency serves you well, right? Where you have to just get stuff done. And that's what we would kind of call being in this doing mode.
Yeah.
Doing, because let's be real, there's a lot to be done, particularly with 2 under 2. We also want to, at the same time, inject those moments of being present in the moment as it's unfolding right here, right now.
Yeah.
And that's where we get those points of connection, whether it's with Noah or the baby or your husband or all of you together. And that's where it gives our system a chance to deactivate. Because it feels nice when we connect.
Yeah,
it feels nice when we just pause, and they can be micro pauses. So I would recommend trying to do some of that stuff now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with your husband, and do it. Do it when you're with Noah. Do it when it's just the 2 of you. Just pause and see if you can invite a being space.
Yeah. Yeah, actually I should do it, because it will be a little bit more chaotic later, so it might be harder to train myself in that moment.
You want to practice this now before baby comes along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing like though that in the lead up to I've been like struggling a little bit is, again, it's kind of that rush of thoughts and emotions, but when I think about, you know, having 2 around and how it would work and like all those little things, sometimes I find myself like having a bit of a peak in my anxiety about it.
Okay. What do you reckon fuels that peak? Like, what is it that you're anxious about?
I honestly think it's like just going again from...
Right.
So it was Nikki with no kids, super organised, efficient, doing her thing. Then with Noah, like chaos and feeling like that I have like zero control over this.
Yep.
And then finally getting to,
okay, we're back
wow,
to...
like, yes, I'm like still, I've got a hold of my calendar and like, I know the quickest way to get out of the house now and like all that. So I think it's that unknown for me that's like, I know at one point it felt really overwhelming and confusing and out of control. So how do I just like, I guess, accept that?
That's it, right?
Right? Do I just, I mean, I'm asking, but I think that's what it needs to be, that I just accept it.
We have to accept it, right? There will be that experience again where your landscape is changing. You're going from one, and absolutely, yes, you've reached kind of a lovely sweet spot where Noah's doing his thing and you're doing your thing, and that's about to all get, again, that puzzle chucked up into the air.
Yeah.
And I love that analogy because it shows all of the pieces that we thought were really held together and they fit and it all worked.
Yeah.
And it's chucked up. And accepting it means watching it all go up, but also giving space for it to find its place again. And it's really hard for things to find their place when we're really activated and anxious and going, because we kind of lose sight of where those pieces are. Yeah. If we can pull back and accept, which is what you've just said, actually, do you know what? It is going to be a bit chaotic because I've got a baby and looking after a newborn is hard work and it requires kind of the majority of my time, attention and energy. So I accept, it's going to be a little bit chaotic for a period of time. I don't actually know what it's going to look like. But what I do know is that I will give myself the space to figure it out. Yeah. I know I have capacity to figure things out. And if we can lean in that, that feels a whole lot less activating than, oh my goodness, what's it going to look like? It's going to change. I don't want it to change because it's so lovely right now. And boo!
Boo! That is the perfect explanation of how my brain works, Cherise. Stick around as we have a few more things to unpack after this. All
All parents want to know their child has a balanced diet, but it can be extra challenging with a fussy eater. That's where Pediasure may help. It's a health shake for fussy eater kids and helps improve appetite in 4 weeks. Your child will love the vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate flavours, and there are more serving ideas in the free recipe book at pediasure.com.au. Remember that Pediasure is food for special medical purposes and use only under medical supervision. Buy in quality pharmacies.
I guess as well know that you do come out of that,
Yeah, right.
you know, that craziness. I think when I had Noah, I just thought that was forever. I thought this,
Yes, you
oh
did.
my gosh.
Yes, life
I
has
have
changed.
ruined everything. Yeah,
Yes.
I have really messed things up. So I know that I got through that, and
Right.
eventually Noah got bigger, and there was other little obstacles, but then that got easier, and then you know, and then he started daycare, and then I went back to work. I know that will eventually happen.
Yes.
So that's nice going into it this time around.
Yeah, right. And again, you're going into it with all of your past learning. Your past learning is knowing what worked well and what didn't work well.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that, right? That's how we grow. When I thought it was never going to end and it was like this forever, that didn't serve me well. So this time around, when I noticed some of those thoughts popping back in, because they might, even though we know it will end, but when we're in the throes of it, we might have those thoughts pop back in, and I will be able to maybe see them a bit more quickly and go, actually, hang on a minute, I can challenge that. I know it will pass.
Yeah.
I wonder also though, Nikki, if, what you said last time was it was hard to, or even still, it's hard to accept help, or it's hard to reach out for help. And I think when we have multiple little people we're looking after, it's so important that we resource ourselves with help. So maybe preparing yourself in that headspace and doing some of that work around asking for help doesn't mean I'm failing. Yeah.
That's true. Because I'm lucky enough to have a lot of help. Sometimes I look at, people who have friends who have moved into state and don't have their mum and dad around.
Yes.
And I think, oh, that would be really hard.
Absolutely.
But I don't what are you doing, Nikki? Use what you've got, right?
Yes.
I have an amazing sister who's always available. My mum and dad, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. I think with 2 under 2, there's no excuses.
You need help.
Yeah.
And I think adding in kind of some self-talk that says it's in my best interest and in the best interest of the children if I ask for help.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to need help. This is hard work. And just labelling it for what it is. It's a tricky one though, and that's why I say it's important to do that work now, to flag to some of your close networks, and I would be saying, listen, I just want you to know that it's probably going to be hard for me to ask for help.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to struggle to put my hand up because for some reason I have this belief that I need to be doing it all on my own to be a good mum. What would be really helpful is when you offer for help, if I say no, because I'll probably swipe you away, push a little bit harder because I think that would be in my best interest.
Yeah.
But having those conversations now, so you're preempting some of that stuff before it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should have that because I think, my family knows what I'm like as well. They know that I'm very no, I'll do it. Whereas, maybe if I'm just a bit more honest about it, they'll think, oh, okay, it's not about independent woman. It's about she just needs more of a nudge.
Having those conversations and also checking in with what you're expecting from this baby. If you look at Noah now, he's 18 months.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a bit more regulated with his sleep, with his eating, with kind of his whole body system.
Yeah.
And we think about a newborn and we're going back to a totally unregulated state.
Yeah.
Sleeping's not regulated, eating's not, nothing's regulated, emotions are not regulated. So then thinking about, well, what's going to serve me well when I'm in that space? So what do you reckon? There's a question for you, Nikki. What frame of mind is going to be helpful for you in that space?
What's great is we've figured many of these things out in the last couple of weeks, but acceptance is a big one for me.
Boom.
Last time I tried to do the whole, positive in the morning and like we're going to smash the day and it's going to be a great day. I think it's better if I say it's probably going to be a bit of a shitstorm today.
Yes.
But this is what it is. And like that sort of talk and language, I think works a little bit better for me. Like just being more realistic with myself. Yeah.
Great.
So that is a big one for me. I've already like noted down that I like want to aim to just take a 10-minute walk a day in those first few weeks because that for me and that fresh air is just all I need.
100%.
Just to reset as well. Sometimes I get super overwhelmed to a point where like I feel like I need to wind down in a sense. So like I need to get the thoughts out, I need to get like the crying out, I need to get all of it. So I think in those moments, shower and walk are my go-to. So
amazing.
Do I have someone who can grab the baby and Noah and I can go have a shower?
Good.
Or am I going to double pram it and go up and down the street?
And we're walking, kids.
Yes. And then I think it's just the confidence. Like I am a great mum.
Yes, you are.
Like I know why I'm a great mum. Like I know that I'm fun and I like, pay a lot of attention to Noah, and I think he's got a lot of my personality, which I love to see, and like that like makes me really proud. Yeah, I love getting emotional because I feel like I am like the best mum he could have. You know, like I'm so lucky that I'll have another version of him around, and they'll have each other, and like it's amazing. Like I'm so excited for all of it. Yeah. And like a big thank you to you, Charisse, because I feel so confident going in, but confident in the sense of like not oblivious.
Confident with your eyes wide open.
Yeah. I'm just excited to be like more of myself, delving into it for everything that it is.
Yes.
With the knowledge that I'll be able to tackle it. That's really exciting for me.
Absolutely.
And such a turnaround from where I was with Noah.
With Noah. It's a very different you going into this experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've really worked hard, Nikki, to lean into your vulnerabilities, to see them for what they were, right? To see what didn't serve you well, to speak with such rawness and honesty about your struggles and about the bits that made you feel super wobbly.
Yeah.
And that takes courage. That's not easy to do. Hence we zip up and we mask and we lie and we whatever. But you happen in this space.
Yeah.
And look at the transformation that happens.
Yeah.
When we start to be true to ourselves and we live in more of an authentic way. Yeah. What's happening on the inside is what you see on the outside. What's happening at home is what you see on the outside, and that's what you're tapping into. And I can see that sense of self-confidence and you starting to back yourself and link into those concrete things like your values and why you do things, and you bring all of that into your mothering space. Yeah. It's going to be lovely for you to experience this next chapter for whatever it is, but in a different way to what was experienced first time around.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a literal weight off my shoulder of the craziest time of my life. I already know that this is the wildest experience I'll ever have, motherhood.
Totally.
And I'm in the middle of it. I'm not even at the end of it.
You're smack bang in the middle of it, Nikki.
So this has been beyond helpful. And I feel really lucky that I've had the chance to talk through it.
My absolute pleasure.
And I'm telling everyone to do it because you just have to take care of yourself.
100%.
And putting me first, like in this sense, in this small sense, you know, has made a massive change for me at home, as a mum, with Noah, going into baby number 2. I honestly feel excited to be able to be a different version of myself with my new baby, and have a completely different experience.
Amazing. Yeah. This is a gift you have given yourself. Well done.
Can I have a hug, Terry?
Of course you can.
Because it has.
I'm always. Well done, you. Thank you. Well, seriously, well done.
I know.
It's not easy to do.
Wow. So evidently, by how emotional I got then, therapy has been nothing short of an amazing journey for me. For me as a woman, for me as an individual, and for me as a mother. I used to think therapy was, well, I used to think it was only there for a small group of people. It was for the broken. It was for those that were utterly devastated, grossly depressed, or processing a trauma they needed help with. Movies and TV shows made it seem pretty daunting, serious, cold and formal. Something to be feared, something that made you feel like you failed at life, one way or another. But as you've been hearing over the past 8 weeks, therapy is nothing like that. It's warm, it's welcoming, it accepts you as you are, and if anything, it makes you realise you're more capable, more normal, and less of a failure than you think. It's an incredible tool, and something we can all use to help us process this wild thing that we're in the midst of, life. Thank you. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. I hope that some of what I spoke about resonated with you, empowered you, gave you some perspective, and maybe even made you feel a little bit less lonely. Trust me, Mum, we are all going through it. And hey, if you've ever thought about it, I encourage you to reach out to a therapist. Give yourself that support. Invest the time and effort to improve your journey as a mum and turn it into the best experience of your life. Now it's time for me to go home, wipe away my tears, and give my toddler a massive hug while he whinges and squirms and tries to release himself from my grip, showing me no love in return. But I leave you with a big thank you. Come to Therapy with Me is hosted by me, Nicolina. You can always find me on Instagram. Please do reach out at Hey Nicolina K. My wonderful therapist, Dr. Charisse. It's a 9 Podcasts original production.
Where did you go today? Did you have a sleep in the pram? Yeah, was it nice?
Yeah.
Who did you go with, Dada? Wow, really?
Finding a therapist that's right for you can take a little time, but when it comes to ensuring your fussy eater is eating right, Pediasure health shakes may make the whole process easier. Pediasure contains 28 essential vitamins and minerals, including iron and zinc, that help to support a healthy appetite in 4 weeks. You can download a recipe book with ideas for the school lunchbox and also read product info at pediasure.com.au. Pediasure is food for special medical purposes and is available at quality pharmacies. Use only under medical supervision.
I'm Jess Irvine, a senior economics writer at the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age, and self-confessed money nerd.
And I'm Dom Powell, money editor and nerd at the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Our editors have decided that the world needs a money podcast from our independent and trusted newsrooms.
We're going to cover topics like investing for the first time, crypto, how do interest rates work, how to crack into the property market, saving for retirement.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and we should let people know that we'll be releasing weekly from August 25. Just end by saying the name of the podcast.
It all adds up.
Yeah, the show where we chat about money.
It All Adds Up is proudly sponsored by Trilogy Funds. Find out more at trilogyfunds.com.au.
When did commercial real estate become all about signing on the line? Together, we'll connect the dots, redefine your bottom line, make everything streamlined, and think 20 years down the line. Think of everything. Realise anything. CBRE.